There is a hidden place within the human heart, a place where silent tears gather like secret rivers beneath the surface of a smiling face. These tears are not the ones the world sees. These are the tears shed in the quiet hours of the night, when no comforting voice is near, and the weight of pain presses too heavily upon the soul. They are the tears of the unseen battles, the silent sufferings, the private wounds that ache without witness. And perhaps you have wondered, as many have, does anyone see me at all in these moments? Does anyone notice the sorrow that no words can truly capture? You have walked through days carrying a burden that felt too heavy for your shoulders, yet you carried it still. You've moved through nights where sleep betrayed you, and all you had for company were your thoughts and the ache in your chest. Betrayal may have pierced you deeper than any blade, the betrayal of those you trusted, of those you believed would stand with you. They wounded you not by accident, but by choice. And yet you bore it quietly, without complaint, as though hoping that your dignity might somehow shield you from despair. But there is something the world forgets, something even those who hurt you fail to remember. There is a gaze that never looks away. There is an eye that beholds what no one else can see. In the sacred silence of your weeping, you have not been abandoned to invisibility. Each tear you thought had fallen into nothingness has been noticed by the one who counts not just the stars, but also your sorrows. Have you ever wondered why your heart still beats despite the heaviness it carries? Why you continue to rise even when everything within you feels like it's collapsing? It is because God Himself is preserving you for a purpose greater than the pain you've endured. He has seen your tears, not as mere drops of sadness, but as seeds sown in faith. Seeds that, in their time, will bear fruit beyond your imagining. Those who inflicted wounds upon your soul believed their actions would remain hidden beneath layers of time and forgetfulness. But no cruelty escapes the eyes of the divine. No betrayal slips past His notice. He does not forget what was done in darkness. He does not overlook the pain that fractured your heart, and while you may feel the loneliness of suffering, you must know this truth. God is already weaving your reward from the very threads of your trials. Your tears have been gathered, not wasted. They have been stored in the treasury of heaven, awaiting the moment when they will be returned to you, not as sorrow, but as joy multiplied. The depth of your pain will become the measure of your blessing. The injustice you endured will be the canvas upon which divine justice paints its masterpiece. And so I ask you, with all the sincerity of one who has walked through shadows, can you feel it? Can you sense even now that something is shifting, that the tides of sorrow are beginning to turn? For your weeping was never in vain. Your silent cries were never echoes lost in emptiness. They have reached the very heart of God, and He is preparing to answer you, not with mere comfort, but with a reward so profound it will make sense of every tear you have shed. Let us now look closer, together, at what this means. For understanding the depth of this promise will give strength to your weary soul. Let us explore the path from pain to reward, from silent suffering to divine restoration. There is a sorrow so private that even the closest people in your life cannot fully understand it. These are the moments when you find yourself questioning the very fabric of your existence, wondering why the pain feels so personal, so relentless, as though the universe itself conspired to break your spirit. Yet in these moments, something extraordinary is happening beneath the surface. What you have seen as mere tragedy, God is quietly transforming into testimony. Each tear you have shed is not a symbol of your weakness, but a record of your endurance. They are not the remnants of defeat. They are the ink in the pages of your life story, marking the chapters of resilience that no one but you could have written. Think about the times when you cried alone, with no one there to comfort you, and the world continued spinning as if your pain did not matter. The voices that should have consoled you were silent. The hands that should have reached out remained still. And yet, you survived. You endured what many could not have carried, and though you felt yourself bending under the weight, you did not break. This is not a minor detail in your story. It is the very proof that your tears were not wasted drops of sorrow, but declarations of your unwavering strength. Have you ever realized that your tears are silent witnesses to your perseverance? They are the evidence that you continued to hope, even when hope seemed foolish. They are the proof that love still lived in your heart, even when you were surrounded by betrayal. They reveal that despite the abandonment, despite the cruel words and the cold shoulders, you refused to harden yourself completely. There remained in you a softness, a tenderness that no amount of hurt could extinguish. That, my dear friend, is not tragedy. That is the most profound testimony of all. The world often teaches us to hide our tears, to mask our pain behind a facade of strength. But understand this: God does not see tears as weakness. He sees them as prayers that words could never form. Each tear is a cry that reaches heaven, bypassing all the noise of the earth. It is a declaration that even in your deepest despair you were still calling out, still believing that someone somewhere cared enough to notice. And He did. He always did. There is a quiet nobility in suffering silently, in carrying a burden no one else can see and doing so with grace. You have lived through storms that no one else has witnessed. You have battled fears in the dark, with only your faith to light the way. And while it may have seemed like no one noticed, God was there, counting every tear and recording every moment of courage you displayed. Your tears are not forgotten fragments of a broken past. They are living testimonies of a soul that refused to give up. Can you see it now? Can you feel the truth of this within you? The pain you endured did not go unseen, nor did it serve no purpose. Each tear, each silent cry, each moment you chose to keep going when everything inside you wanted to give up, is a powerful testimony that echoes in the chambers of heaven. The very things you thought were breaking you were in fact building you. And one day, these testimonies will speak louder than any voice raised against you. When you stand before the blessings that are being prepared for you, it will be your tears that tell the story of how far you have come. They will stand as witnesses to your journey, undeniable proof that you did not merely survive, you overcame. And in that moment you will understand that every drop of sorrow was not a mark of tragedy, but a sacred testimony of a life courageously lived. There is a cruel reality in this world that few speak about openly. When you are broken, when life has worn you thin and left you raw and exposed, the world is quick to turn away. People withdraw from pain they do not understand. They step back from wounds they cannot see. And so you are left feeling discarded, as though your worth has been measured and found wanting, as though your pain has made you inconvenient, unworthy of attention or care. The silence of those who were supposed to stand beside you echoes louder than any words they could have spoken. And yet, in this very rejection, a divine mystery is unfolding, one that only the eyes of heaven can fully perceive. What the world so carelessly casts aside, God gathers with infinite tenderness. He does not recoil from your brokenness. He draws closer to it. He does not avert His eyes from your suffering. He beholds it as precious beyond measure. While others see your wounds as flaws, He sees them as openings through which His grace can pour. While others step over your pain, He kneels beside it, collecting every fragment of your shattered heart with a care that defies human understanding. Have you ever felt the sting of being left behind by those you once trusted? The sharp pain of realizing that your vulnerability has made you invisible in the eyes of people who claim to love you? It is a wound that runs deeper than words can describe. Yet, in that very moment of abandonment, God begins his most intimate work. He does not wait for you to be whole to approach you. He moves toward you in your brokenness, gathering every discarded piece of your soul as though it were the most priceless treasure. There is something profoundly beautiful about this divine attention. It is not rushed. It is not mechanical. It is filled with the compassion of a creator who knows every part of you, who remembers the first tear you ever shed and holds it still as a promise that none of your sorrow will be wasted. Where others have seen your pain as a burden, God sees it as an opportunity to display his unmatched mercy and love. The world's rejection often leads to a dangerous lie, the belief that discarded means worthless. But you must resist this lie with all your might, for in God's hands, what the world discards becomes the foundation of a greater purpose. He specializes in taking the abandoned, the broken, the unwanted, and crafting from them a masterpiece that silences every doubter and confounds every accuser. What others have left to rot, God redeems for glory. Ask yourself this: if people had truly valued you, would they have wounded you so deeply? If they had recognized your worth, would they have walked away so easily? Their failure to see your value does not diminish it. It reveals their blindness, not your inadequacy. And while they turned their backs, God turned his face toward you. He collected every sorrow they ignored, every hurt they dismissed, every tear they overlooked, and he is holding them still, not as relics of your pain, but as raw materials for your coming restoration. As you reflect on these truths, feel the weight of rejection begin to lift. Understand that you have never truly been discarded. You have been gathered, cherished, and prepared for a reward far beyond what this world could ever offer. There is no wound quite like the wound of betrayal. It does not strike the body, it strikes the soul. It is not inflicted by strangers, but by those you allowed close to your heart, by the very hands you once held in trust. And because of this, betrayal carries with it a bitterness that words often fail to express. You gave love, and they returned it with treachery. You offered loyalty, and they repaid you with deception. You extended kindness, and they answered with cruelty. There is something uniquely painful about this exchange, because it feels as though they have not only hurt you, but have also mocked the goodness within you. But in the grand, unseen workings of divine justice, betrayal becomes something far more powerful than pain alone. It becomes the bridge between the harm you endured and the justice that awaits those who thought they would escape unscathed. It becomes the very path upon which the hand of God moves to balance the scales. The same betrayal that brought you to your knees is the very betrayal that calls upon the heavens to rise in your defense. Have you noticed how those who betray are often so confident in their secrecy? They hide their actions behind masks of innocence, weaving lies with practiced ease. They believe no one sees the hidden daggers they plunge into your back. They believe their smiles and smooth words will conceal their cruelty forever. But what they fail to understand is that while they deceive you, they could never deceive the one who sees all. Their betrayal has not vanished into the shadows. It has ignited a beacon in the unseen realms, a signal to the courts of heaven that justice must be served. Ask yourself, how could such profound hurt be allowed without purpose? Why did life permit these betrayals to occur so deeply, so painfully? It is because betrayal sharpens the justice that follows. The deeper the cut, the more precise the healing. The darker the treachery, the brighter the light of vindication that will come. Betrayal is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of divine reckoning. There is a strange, almost poetic justice in this truth. Those who betrayed you believed they were stepping on you to rise higher. They thought they could use your trust as a stepping stone for their own gain. Yet, in their arrogance, they failed to see that every step they took over your suffering was also a step closer to their own downfall. They mistook your silence for weakness, your patience for foolishness. But in reality, you were giving space for something far greater than your retaliation. You were making room for God's intervention. Your betrayal has become the undeniable evidence that calls forth justice from the heavens. It is the case presented before the ultimate judge, the plea that does not need your voice because your pain speaks louder than words ever could. Even as you endured in silence, justice was being prepared with precision. Even as you wiped away tears in private, the heavenly scales were tipping in your favor. It is not easy to see this while you are still in the midst of your pain. The weight of betrayal can cloud your vision, making it difficult to believe that any good can come from such treachery. But understand this deeply. Betrayal is the bridge between suffering and justice. It is the very thing that sets divine recompense in motion. The betrayal you experienced did not bury you. It built the very path upon which your vindication will arrive. There is a special kind of warfare that takes place within the human soul, an invisible battle fought in the quiet corners of life, far from the eyes of the crowd. These are not the battles that others applaud or even notice. These are the battles waged in the silence of your thoughts, in the stillness of nights when sleep refuses to come, in the moments when despair whispers that you have been forgotten. You fought them alone, with no audience to cheer you on, no comforting hand to steady you, and perhaps in these moments, you wondered if your struggle was in vain, if your perseverance would ever see the light of recognition. But here lies the hidden truth. Every silent battle you have fought is preparing the ground for victories so loud they will echo beyond your lifetime. The quiet endurance you displayed, the tears you shed in secret, the moments you chose faith over despair when no one else was watching. These are the foundations of triumphs that will not remain hidden forever. What was built in the dark will be revealed in the light. The world often fails to value what it cannot see. People respect victories but rarely respect the battles that precede them. They see the outcome but are blind to the process. And because your battles were fought in silence, it felt as though they were unseen and unappreciated. Yet, there was one who never looked away. There was one who stood with you in the unseen wars of your soul. God witnessed every internal struggle, every moment you chose not to surrender to bitterness, every time you fought back despair with a fragile but unwavering hope. Have you considered this? Why does the world admire loud victories but ignore silent injury? Why does society celebrate the triumph but neglect the quiet perseverance that made it possible? It is because people see only the surface. They celebrate results but miss the hidden resilience that carries a person through darkness into dawn. But God sees differently. He sees the value of your unseen perseverance. He treasures the battles you fought when no one else cared to notice. Your silent battles are not wasted efforts lost in obscurity. They are being woven into the very fabric of your destiny. The victories that await you will not be quiet reflections of your hidden struggles. They will be resounding declarations of your unwavering spirit. The triumphs to come will not merely compensate for your pain, they will magnify the strength you displayed in enduring it. Think deeply. How powerful will your victories be, knowing they were born from battles fought in silence? How sweet will your triumph taste, knowing that you persevered not for recognition, but because you refused to let despair define you. These victories will not be quiet celebrations. They will be loud, undeniable affirmations of your resilience. They will be the kind of triumphs that cause even those who doubted you to pause and reflect. Your silent endurance has been building a crescendo that is about to break forth. The quiet persistence you practice is writing a story that will be told in voices far louder than your pain ever was. And while you may have walked your path alone, your victories will not be witnessed in solitude. They will stand as public affirmations of private strength, as loud declarations of quiet battles won. There is a truth often buried beneath the weight of suffering, hidden from sight, because pain has a way of narrowing our vision. When you are in the depths of despair, it feels as though you are trapped in a bottomless pit, with no light above and no escape below. You look around, and all you see is the shadow of your sorrow, the walls of your grief pressing in so tightly that breathing itself becomes an effort. And remember this, as deeply as you remember your own pain, your tears were seen by God, and He is preparing your reward. Your season of weeping is not your final chapter. A season of rejoicing is on its way, and when it arrives, it will carry with it the weight of every tear you've cried, transformed into the glory of a reward so profound that you will finally understand why the road was so hard, why the nights were so long, and why your patience was worth everything. This is not the end of your story. This is the beginning of your restoration.